So when John had his heart attack, he calls it the event, but I don't have a name for it. And so now he's able to laugh about it, but I'm not there yet because it was so scary. I'm sure for him more than me. Watching him go through it was very scary and made me feel not powerful enough to do anything in that moment. So, but why do you call it the event? Because I don't have a name for it.
Well, because, I think that we all have moments in our life where certain things happen at certain times. And to have a massive heart attack, at the stage that, I was we were in our lives, at 49, almost 50, it was kind of like an event that was saying, okay, you are halfway through your life. And it was like, okay, because of that, here's an event. Here's something that's going to happen that's going to take you to the second part of your life, and it just happened to be a heart attack. So I said, okay, in order for me to be able to live the second part of my life after this thing called the event, it took me a while to come to grips with calling it a heart attack.
Okay.
So that's why I said, this is something that happened. It was an event that happened to my body, and it was something that caused me to say, wow, after you've done something or you've had a major event in your life, a lot of times it changes your perspective on what life was or what life is and what it's going to be.
So going back to April 21st, and when they took John in to have his MRI, and he was in the room and all of the nurses started running and the doctor started running to the room, and I start running with them. And for those moments, not knowing, at that time I thought I had lost you. Mm-hmm. You said to me that time for you was like one of the most peaceful things that ever happened to you. Mm-hmm. That time, for me, it was the hardest thing that ever happened because I couldn't even get a thought in my mind about how could I proceed on with life without you, So I just want you to know that in that moment, mm-hmm. It made me feel vulnerable, and it made me feel, I needed to know from God why. If you're getting ready to do this, why? Mm-hmm. So for me, that's what I was experiencing while you were in the table and you had coded. It was very hard for me to go through that. I've heard of, there's a movie where they say, our family doesn't work without you. Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt in that moment. Like, it wouldn't be the same. Our family just wouldn't work without you being there. So that's what I went through.
In laying there, right before the actual part of the event that happened for 30 seconds, I looked over and, when you know that these things are happening to you, and I can only go by just the experience of it, anyone who's been through that, you kind of look around for the people who are there, who are in your life, and you're saying, okay, for me it was, okay, God, if this is it, I want to look over and see my wife, if this is it for the last time, and I want to make sure that she's okay. It was tough for me for the second, but then when, that part of it happened for 30 seconds, I don't know if it was God going through you or you praying at that point with God, and he's saying, it's not time. It's not time. There's still things that we need to keep you on this side to do. And all of it contends around your family, your wife, and everything that it is that needs to happen for you going forward. And God was saying, I didn't bring you this far for this event to happen to you, for it to be left here. There's things that you have to do. And, my main concern at the time mentally was, okay, what's going to happen with my wife? What's going to happen with my children? So I'm really, 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 really grateful to God that I'm still here for her, with her, and by her side.
For me, every day now is living life on purpose. I'm asking God what it is you want me to do today, who it is you want me to talk to today, who can I encourage today. That's me living life on purpose. How can I be more of a blessing to my husband, my family, my mother, my children? How can I do that? That's what living life on purpose for me is. What about you, honey?
Well, living life on purpose is fulfilling what it is that God has called me to do as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a family member and a friend, to go and do the what God has called for me to do and how to do it. Stepping into, this next phase of my life with, authority, with strength and power and the will to do what it is that God has called for me to do. Going in and doing it with a purpose, doing it with a reason, doing it with, His blessing behind it.